But first, my journey earlier this week to the new Firstsite building, just as it was getting ready to open to the public. Colchester, Britain's oldest recorded town. There you have it in black and white. But for all its multi-layered, fascinating past, it's the future of Colchester that's taking shape in the form of a brand new £25 million arts centre. All I really know about it is that it's very large and very gold. And I think I can just see a sliver of it over there. Colchester today is a bit rough and ready. Still a garrison town and spiritual home of the boy racer. But once it was Camulodunum, capital of Roman Britain under the Emperor Claudius. There are signs of a classical past everywhere. Fragments of temples, columns on everything from banks to bookshops. Looking down from high on the town hall, local heroine Boudica, the warrior queen of the Britons, who led a bloody rebellion against the Romans. And now, after a dramatic architectural competition and endless funding wrangles, Temple of the Arts they're already calling the Golden Banana is ready for action. There we go. So, first impressions. There's certainly nothing else like it in Colchester. It's got the wow factor, it's got the Gordon Bennett factor. To me, it's like a sort of gigantic spaceship that suddenly just got beamed down. I also think there's an element of homage to Frank Gehry. It almost looks like a chunk that somehow mysteriously fell off the Guggenheim in Bilbao and ended up here getting sprayed in gold. It's certainly impressive, I must say. I quite like it. There's quite a story behind this unusual structure. This land is a scheduled ancient monument. Architect Raphael Vignoli has devised a form which, unlike Claudius's elephants, has had to watch where it puts its feet. The most conspicuous feature of the building is just how light it is, and I don't mean light-filled alone, I mean physically light. It carries itself lightly, almost gingerly on the site, virtually hovering over it. The foundations are extremely shallow, and there's a reason for that, which is this. This is a Roman mosaic, probably the floor of a dining room. It's got these rather beautiful dolphins and sea creatures, and it was excavated here. When the mosaic was unearthed, they found the skeleton of a human being, a few fragments of pottery, and oyster shells. The annual Colchester Oyster Feast is still celebrated in the town hall. Somewhere beneath all that municipal jollity, there's a link back to celebrations of the cult of Dionysus, the god of wine, fertility, drunkenness, ritual madness, and sex. The opening exhibition in the new building is called Camulodunum and makes use of Colchester's past to find a way into contemporary art. And the connections are sometimes ingenious. Vietnamese artist Yan Vo's installation is a colossus for a globalized age. Fragments of a copy of the Statue of Liberty, shown in pieces all over the world. The theme of the exhibition is past and present, how we interpret fragments of a sometimes imaginary archaeology. What survives when civilizations crumble? Where does junk end and art begin? And what makes a monument monumental? This piece is by the great American land artist Robert Smithson. It occurred to me that he was working on it at the height of the Vietnam War. And Bill Woodrow created this cutout from car doors in the year of the Falklands conflict. I think of it as a kind of joke on the future. I imagine the artist wondering to himself, what would the people of the year 3000 make of us if they could dig this up? I don't normally like themed exhibitions, but I like this one. I like its playfulness, and I really like the way in which it's unearthed a rather rich vein of art from the last 60, 70 years that does seem to have worried away at the theme of archaeology, the relationship between the past and the future. The exhibition also shows us how our attitudes to the past have changed. These are photographs of the Colchester pageant, staged way back in 1909. It had an audience of 60,000, with nearly 3,000 participants. I like this. It's a real slice of Colchester's past. A more innocent and yet somehow also more authoritarian past. There's a letter from the organiser of the pageant. My dear pageanters, today you covered yourselves with glory and macintoshes, but the glory was predominant. As if a little rain never hurt anybody. And it's signed by Louis N. Parker. The N, by the way, stood, appropriately enough, for Napoleon. The unique Firstsite building isn't just an art gallery. And I'm glad to see it's reaching out to local children, making the experience of coming here fun as well as educational. Raphael Vignoli once commented that architecture is the only medium you can't turn off. Well, the council are going to turn off the bus station next door. This whole view will be landscaped down towards the Roman wall. I must admit, I grew rather fond of its constant movement. Like an installation attended by men in high-vis vests, working away beyond the window. You know what? I think they'll miss it when it's gone.